Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA and everything going on for Denver Nuggets. I know we didn't predict the game again. My fault. I forgot. I didn't know it was on a back-to-back. Anyways, I'm here with Phil. Phil, how's it going?
Going good.
It's going good.
We just won.
We did just win. We were just talking right after the Spurs game. Everything's on the up and up for the Nuggets, and we'll definitely get onto it. But beforehand, like always, we'll talk about things going on in the NBA, some news. First off, more of a serious thing, we'll talk about Jrue Holiday's contract extension. I didn't think he was going to sign one. It seemed pretty unrealistic that he would get it done at some point in the season, especially with the season they've been having, which isn't bad, but it isn't what I'm sure Milwaukee fans or that team were expecting once he came aboard. But they ended up giving him an extension. So he's staying. He signed a 4-year contract extension that will be worth at least $134 million if he exercises the player option at the end of his final season, which I'll tell you all right now, he will, because
that's so much money.
He already said in a video with Giannis, where Giannis
this is his last payday or something.
Yeah, it's his last payday, so he's definitely going to extend. He'll take that player option no matter what. But what do you think of Jrue Holiday, a person who's always been connected with the Denver Nuggets, extending and staying in Milwaukee?
It's an overpay, but the Bucks had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see what happens. That team doesn't really seem to be equipped to win a championship.
No, definitely not. And yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely an overpay, but I feel like it's the same reason, that you had to pay all the other free agents like Middleton. Anyone that's not named Giannis, you have to just do it because you have to give Giannis a reason for why he signed that contract extension. Even though I guess they could have just been like, well, fuck you, you signed the contract, haha, we won't get Jrue Holiday. But
yeah,
they also gave away draft capital for Jrue Holiday, and a lot of draft capital for Jrue Holiday.
So they have to keep him.
You have to keep him. You can't just lose him after you just gave up all that draft capital. You gave up Bledsoe and other valuable pieces of your team to get him. So he's staying. Good for him for getting paid. Like he knows it's his last contract, so good for him to get it. I think he's always deserved this kind of money because he's always been kind of a underrated player.
Mm-hmm.
So good for him. Now it does make it so he won't come to Denver, which is, I'm gonna tell people we couldn't even have got him anyways.
Yeah,
We don't have any money this offseason. We're gonna get most likely just $10 million and whatever JaVale's contract is. So like $15 million. So maybe we could have, but he would have had to take a discount. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for Jrue Holiday. They're not going to do anything, I think, major in this year's playoffs just because the Nets are the Nets. But, I mean, for them, it was the best move possible. It's kind of the similar situation to like Rudy Gobert's contract extension. Like, you tell Milwaukee they can't do any better. It's the same with like us. Like we have to extend sometimes people to like max extensions sometimes that we don't want to. So it just kind of happens. It's the curse of being a small market team for sure.
It is. Yeah.
But now on to more funny news. I don't know what was going on, but all I know is Paul Pierce went on to Instagram Live for some reason when he wasn't working an ESPN game and talking trash about the Nuggets. And he went on there and he was with a bunch of ladies, some promiscuous ladies on Instagram Live, and everyone saw, and he said some things, and now he got fired from ESPN. So what are your thoughts about the situation?
It's no shock to anyone that Paul Pierce is an idiot, and that's all I have to say.
I think it's just really funny. I don't get what he was doing. Friend of mine's theory is just he was drunk, he's old, he didn't know he was live chatting to a lot of people. He thought he was in like a close friends group live chat. But either way, it's just really, really, really funny. I know all of Nuggets Nation is happy to see Paul Pierce no longer on ESPN because for some reason he just hated our team.
For some reason he was employed on ESPN. He's been awful forever.
He was going to be definitely their not as good Charles Barkley. Like he was there to always say the most outrageous things and get headlines for ESPN. Like he said some like the craziest thing I think he ever said on live television was, "I had a better career than Dwayne Wade."
Oh yeah.
Which is like not even close, and even Jalen Rose, who was on
You like
with
roasted him for it.
roasted him for it. It's just like I think he was doing it on purpose. He was trying to make a career for himself that way, being like Chuck and having bad takes and stuff like that. But it was just cringy in my opinion. Now the only reason we're making fun of this is because first off, he's a millionaire, so it's okay that he lost his job. We don't make fun of anyone who's losing their job if they're like a normal person.
They're all getting paid so much money to be a TV personality.
Yeah, like he's fine. He's set for his life, and it also sounds like he's going to have future ventures with promiscuous ladies talking NBA content on promiscuous sites. But it sounds like Mia Khalifa is going to get a new sportscasting job too with him. So
Oh my god!
I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. But we'll see. I think it's really funny, and Nuggets Nation loses a hater on ESPN, so that's always good. And now we'll get into the actual important information. We will talk about our games. So we are on an unbelievable hot streak right now. One of the hottest teams in the league with the Jazz and the Suns. And we'll be one of two left because the Jazz and the Suns are playing tonight. But we have won now 16 of our last 19 games. We haven't lost since the trade, I should say. Since we got Aaron Gordon, we're undefeated. And Jokic is playing MVP caliber. Everything just seems to be going well. So we'll just talk about the games. The first one was against the Los Angeles Clippers, 101-94. Pretty close, and actually, we were ahead in this game for most of it, but then it got kind of close towards the end. But overall, the bench played really poorly in this game, and then the starters came in and played well. Who was your MVP for this game against the Clippers?
I guess I'll give it to Will because he's been playing well recently.
I'm so shocked you gave it to Will.
I mean, when he shoots 50%, I have to give him props because that's so rare. So I'll give it to Will.
Wow, I'm shocked. I would have thought you gave it to Jamal because he also shot 50% from the field and three. He had 8 rebounds. That's why I'm giving Jamal. He had 8 rebounds, which to me is like that's crazy whenever Jamal does that. But overall, really good game. The bench didn't play exceptionally well. Paul was the best with 5 points. Definitely not the best we could have played. We didn't close out the end of it how we wanted to, and I think that's been a reoccurring issue sometimes when we go up, at least until recently. So that was definitely worrying, but otherwise it's a good win. You beat a good team, and they had Paul George back. And we were still without Monte in that game. So it's a really impressive win to not even be fully healthy. And they were basically fully healthy. And we pretty much handled them pretty easily in their home field. And then the next game was against the Orlando Magic, a reunion with Gary Harris and RJ. Our first game with fans for the general public. Mm-hmm. We won 119-109. We basically just kicked their butt. We did struggle a lot in the first half, though, but after that,
it was over.
It was lights out. But who was your MVP for this game?
Aaron Gordon. He only missed 3 shots, 24 points, 7 rebounds. He was really good. He was insane.
I will also give it to Aaron Gordon. It's our first time we give it to him. Well-deserved. He played really well, 24 points, like you said. 7 rebounds. Jamal also played well, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. MPJ added 20 and 12. Jokic almost had a triple-double, 17, 9, and 16. Everyone played super well. The beginning, they came out kind of lazy, and I think it had to do with the fact that this was the first time in a long time they had 2 days off before a game, and Jokic said that they got a day off for one of those 2 days, like no practice, no nothing. They just got to relax, which is kind of rare for them, especially during this season. So I think that kind of made them a little bit sluggish and rusty at first, but then they got the rhythm going and they started playing pretty well. And they just kind of manhandled the Magic. And also Monte came back and played really well in his first game back. He had 10 points. Mm-hmm. Basically was the bench for the most part. So that was good to see too. And also shout out to RJ because he played pretty well for them and had 16 points. 4 rebounds and 3 assists. He also airballed a shot and made Jamal pretend he got bombed or something.
Yeah, he was like looking above. That was funny.
Which is funny because I'm guessing Jamal was his vet, so Jamal could haze him and make fun of him.
Yeah.
He didn't seem upset that Jamal did that. Everyone else on the internet got really pissed at Jamal for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think it was funny.
It was funny. People are dumb.
But yeah, overall, really good game. You beat a G League team like you should have. So that's all you can take. Then the next game, we came back and we played the Detroit Pistons. 134-119 was the victory for that. Jeremy's return, Mason Plumlee's return. Jeremy roasted us this game, but we still won. What was your thoughts of his return, and also who's your MVP?
I mean, this is exactly what Jeremy Grant wanted. He wanted to score a lot of points and then lose, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that's what's been happening.
that's now that's what he chose. That's his career now. So, sure, I'll give it to Paul. He played really well off the bench, 12 points. I don't know the last time we had a bench player in double figures. So
the game before, we just had Monte.
Oh yeah, Monte. But like before Monte, especially.
Yeah, before Monte, especially for sure. I'll give it to, because we can't give it to Jokic. I will give it to Will Barton because he had 24. 10 of 16, 3 of 6 from 3. Whenever Will has games like this, you love it. He also had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. And then Jokic and MPJ added 27, 25 each, respectively. And Jokic also, again, almost had a triple-double. And then Monte started with them, had 10 points. Aaron Gordon played okay, but my takeaways from Jeremy's return is, like you said, he's a very talented player. He's a great player. He didn't want to be a part of his team. He wanted to fulfill his own, I guess, individual goals and prove that he's one of the better scorers in this league. He's doing that. He had 29 points. But, yeah, they're losing games. People just have different, things they want in their career. Like Aaron Gordon, super happy to be here. Super happy to only have to score 9 points to win a game. He's amazingly pleased with doing that. Whereas Jeremy wanted a bigger role and he wanted to prove that he could do it. So good for Jeremy. I will say, when it comes to Jeremy Aaron Gordon, I think this game proved that Jeremy would have fit better for our team than Aaron Gordon, just because when they went at each other, it was pretty apparent. And also Jeremy, he's a better fit. But Aaron Gordon is a great replacement. It's the best thing you could have got for him in return. And at least this game, our bench finally played well for once, because we didn't have a good bench play up until this point. So that was, I think, our 5th win in a row, or 6th. How many wins do we have now? We have 5 wins in a row?
That was our 4th. I think tonight was our 5th.
Okay. And then the last game we just watched, we won 106-96 against...
Sorry, that was our 6th win in a row.
So now it's our 7th win.
Yeah.
So this is our 7th win in a row against the San Antonio Spurs. We won 106-96. Who was your MVP for this game?
Because I watched it and I kind of saw just how he was how the game folded. I'll just say it was JaMychal. I thought he played really well tonight. He played really good defense and shot well and scored. And I give it to MPJ a lot. So
that's fair. I'll give it to. I can't give it to Jokic, even though this is definitely just a game that should go probably to him.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to MPJ just because he played really well. Had 18 and 10. He still made some dumb decisions in this game. But overall, he played pretty well. Barton had 14, but shot terribly, but he had plus 15, so it works. Again, Aaron Gordon, all he needs to do is get 9 now, and he gets the dub. I'm sure he is very happy. Yeah. Interestingly enough, we played Facu to start. I don't think that experiment worked out very well. I think we should go back to starting Monte when Jamal's out.
Yeah.
Because Jamal has been out the past couple games with a sore knee that he experienced, I think, in the Magic game. So I think we should go back to Monte. I don't know. Malone wanted to use Monte because he felt like he'd be better with a second unit, which I assume technically Malone's not wrong. The second unit did play a lot better tonight. But I don't know. We just need Jamal back, to be honest.
We do.
But yeah, overall, 7th win in a row. Now let's just talk about the takeaways, because there was a lot of games. I would say the first takeaway that every Nuggets fan is talking about is Jokic's fouling, free throws, things about this. What do you think about him not getting any calls in the game against, let's see who it was, Philadelphia and the Clippers, and then what happened to him in Orlando with how he freaked out, and he definitely got fouled by Wendell Carter Jr. and then he got upset, and apparently Malone is called into the league. What are your thoughts about all of this going on with his free throw issues? Because he's only getting, I think, 5 free throws a game.
Yeah, he's getting 4.8. I mean, it's kind of warranted, I think. I think that he doesn't get the calls he deserves to get. Mm-hmm. He's not as physical as players like Joel Embiid, who averages, I think, 11. Mm-hmm. But he still puts his head down and goes into the post, and he pumps fakes, and people are grabbing his arms all game, and he just doesn't seem to get the calls that you would think that a MVP front runner would get. Most of the time, he gets all his points by the old-fashioned way,
Yeah, he's just getting the points. He's just playing really hard.
So, if you give him more free throws, he could average 30. So
definitely could. He could be near there for sure.
So it's kind of frustrating, but what's the solution? Malone got himself ejected tonight by screaming at the refs because of a missed call on Jokic. Jokic got frustrated, so that's all you can do, I guess, is just take fines and complain about the officiating.
Yeah. I definitely think at this point, he's definitely not getting as many free throws as he should. I think anybody who watches his game sees that. And in my opinion, it's not fair that that's happening to him, but it just is. And I think the reason it is because he's at the point where, Shaq and LeBron, he's this big, imposing force that these guys, I feel like they're well, if they don't foul you, they can't guard you, so we'll just won't call as many for you. And it's just it sucks because he doesn't get the MVP treatment on the other side, which kind of levels it out and balances it out. So he just gets the calls he should get. Mm-hmm. It's you'll talk to any Shaq fan back in the day, they're oh, well, he should have got more calls than he did. You talk to LeBron fans now, they're he should get more calls than he even does sometimes. And their teammates all say that. They'll go from a team against them. Those guys were they get too many calls, and then they go play for them. They're not getting enough. It's always this kind of concept. And I think that hopefully once he gets the MVP, it will clear up this issue of him not getting the calls he deserves.
It should, because you say that, but Embiid averages 11 free throws.
I know. But then again, that's because Embiid's this flashier player. He's more vocal and whiny, and, he's more for the public. They're trying to, as much as I don't want to say it's them trying to make it so that those guys have a better chance to get MVP, it's totally that. They don't want Jokic to get an MVP. I think we all know this. If you're a fan of the NBA, you're a Nuggets fan, there's even fans who come on to Nuggets Reddit and they're they're totally hosing Jokic out of a MVP, or trying to at least, because they never talk about him on MVP, on ESPN or any of those outlets. They don't give him the calls he deserves and all this stuff. So it just is what it is. Now Malone has tried to, call into the league and tell them that he's frustrated and try to get Jokic more calls. But I genuinely do believe that, I made a joke when we were watching the game tonight, once we heard that, I think he's literally getting up to Adam Silver's voicemail and just going, I know you hear these, Adam. Why aren't you answering me? We're trying to get these free throws. I don't think that they're being heard. I don't think they will be heard until he gets the MVP. Again, I don't think it's fair. I definitely think they have a right to be frustrated. I think Malone took the right action tonight by getting in the ref's face. And maybe he shouldn't have got both of the technicals. He should have got one, just to set the tone, because it did change how the game was officiated. It was a lot less ticky-tacky.
Yeah.
And hopefully they do just keep doing that. Just keep being frustrated. And I'd rather Malone get the text than Jokic. As much as they want to complain, our fans want to complain about the Orlando game, I'm so shocked he didn't get ejected when he ran into that ref.
Yeah.
That's usually an instant ejection, and he didn't get ejected. Those refs were terrible for both teams. Jokic should have got ejected, but he also should have got that foul call, and they were terrible throughout the night. They were really bad. Obviously, is there any way to fix officiating? I guess not, because their union is untouchable.
They don't care to even try, it seems. So.
It's just their union's just untouchable, because if you don't use them, then you got to go to these even shittier refs. So they have just absolute power. It's kind of crazy. Hopefully at some point they figure something out. But that is definitely unfortunate. But at least we're still winning despite that. And that's my other point to this topic is, just because we're not getting those calls against bad teams doesn't mean we shouldn't win those games. I'm glad that even though we're not getting the calls, they're not letting them affect how they're playing.
Yeah, they're still going to win.
They're still winning these games. Now, it will suck once we get into the playoffs, and those calls will affect games, especially against a team like the Lakers, like we saw last year.
I mean, the officials love to give games to the Lakers.
So it will be frustrating for sure. But again, it's just you got to put your head down and just battle through it. I think that's just what we have to accept at this point, and hopefully it changes once he gets an MVP. But that was one of the things that people are talking about recently. The other takeaway from our recent games is the bench issue. Our bench hasn't played super well until recently. The last 2 games they did play pretty well. What are your thoughts on why the bench isn't playing well? How would you fix it? What do you want to see to make the bench do better? Because the starters at this point are set.
I think what you need is Monte there, and having him back has obviously helped. Monte's always the rock for the bench, and they'll need him. If you have a lineup of Monte, Facu, PJ, I don't like going small on the bench, but I understand that we and also in a way it's kind of hard not to play both Paul and JaMychal because they're both basically the same player.
Yeah.
And they both help a lot of things, but JaVale's been playing. I feel like JaVale played really well tonight. We didn't really talk about him, but he scored 7 points.
He did.
8 rebounds, and got a block.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see him be out there just to kind of be a presence, because I feel like a lot of people don't I don't want to say don't game plan for that against the Nuggets because of Jokic, but in a way I feel like they can be more aggressive, and if JaVale's out there sometimes maybe they can't.
That's true. No, I think that's definitely a good point, is to have experimentation with the bench lineup. I think at this point it was the Orlando game specifically where the bench wasn't working, and finally Malone started putting in some new subs. He put in JaVale, he put in different units together. He did 3 starters and 2 bench players instead of 4 bench players and 1 starter. He was trying different things. Recently, he's gone back to, I think, the norm of what he was doing, because he trusts in Monte so much to lead the bench unit and things along those lines. But I think the real key has been in the recent resurgence of the bench. Monte has helped for sure, but I think it's because, and I mentioned this to you a ton of times, when we're just talking off, recording, I just saying, and I said this on the last podcast too, I think the bench plays really poorly when Jamal's out there with them.
Yeah.
And that's what we did in those early on games. When Monte was out, we put Paul, JaMychal, PJ, Facu, Jamal out there. And they all relied on Jamal way too much, and they're just Jamal's going to bail us out. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to cut. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to rebound. We don't have to... We're just gonna let Jamal handle this.
We'll set some screens and let him go to work.
Yeah, and that was it. And it's okay, we'll try to run a play. Oh, it didn't work. Just give it to Jamal. He'll figure it out. It was a lot of lazy play, I think, from the bench, just because they have too much belief in Jamal. And not that it's unwarranted. Jamal's a great player, but I think it's just too much for his plate. Only Jokic could really handle that much.
Yeah,
pressure. I think even MPJ would do better, just because, I told you before, I think MPJ is way better, obviously, at taking bad shots than Jamal, unless Jamal's on fire, on fuego. If he's in the heat mode, then he can make anything. But it's hard when you're just forcing him to play 1v5. And these last 2 games, he's been hurt, and they put in Monte, and they just have an all bench unit, and the bench is playing way better. They're moving a lot more. They're communicating a lot more. The other bench players are actually taking shots, Paul's taking shots, JaMychal's taking shots, Monte's leading them. I think hopefully we'll be fine now to the point where we don't have to play Jamal with the bench unit. But I just think that's definitely the issue. It's clearly been it just if you like notice, because like he's gone, they're not using him in that bench rotation anymore. Our bench has been playing better. When they were playing really bad.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue, and I hope Malone has noticed it, and I hope Malone gets to the point where he experiments and tries different rotations like he was doing in the Orlando game in the second half. Once he saw it wasn't working in the first half, maybe playing JaVale more here or there, maybe playing, less of Facu or more PJ, just trying different things, different lineups with different people. I think that will help immensely. But I'd say definitely a bright side from this is I don't even think we've been playing our best basketball yet.
No.
I think there's been a lot of times where now our worst quarter is the first quarter.
Yeah.
We come out kind of sluggish. We're not making threes. We kind of are back against the wall at the beginning. Then we slowly just, our offense is so good at this point because it's the best offense in the league now, rating-wise at least, that no team can keep up with us for 4 quarters unless they're a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not playing those teams right now. But yeah, I mean, I think this team has another level completely to go to. I don't know if you have the same feeling about it, but I think
I do. I actually have the same feeling about it also, like on the defensive end. I feel like they can be so much better there too.
Yeah, we haven't even been playing exceptional defense. That was another takeaway I've had for the games this week, especially is our biggest issue this week has been these random rookie guards or young guards who are getting a ton of buckets on us. The Clippers game was Terrence Mann. Pistons game was Sadiq Bey. Orlando, RJ played really well against us. There's these young guards who are just giving us these issues, and I don't know who that's on, if it's Jamal. I guess it's on all the point guards, like Jamal, Facu, Monte, PJ a little bit too. Like, you guys got to stop those guys from scoring a lot. But I think I agree with you. I think defensively and offensively, we're just starting to hit our stride. We're just starting to do really good. And I think if you're a Nuggets fan, you should be really excited. But you should also be really nervous because, again, like we mentioned before, we don't want to play the Lakers in the first round. And they keep falling and we keep rising. So hopefully we don't have to. But that's the thing to see how it pans out in the future. But for now, we'll talk about our games coming up. So the first game we have is a rematch against the Spurs, little mini series. We play them on Friday night. How do you see this game going?
We should win this game, probably pretty big, I would hope. Hopefully Jamal will be back from this game. I don't really know his timetable. He
just has like a sore knee. I don't think he'll be back just because it's not a good team.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
maybe against the Celtics. I don't know. They're not a good team either, I guess.
Yeah. It's just like this is the nice thing about having Aaron Gordon now, and also just like our team being clicking. Remember early in the season when Jamal was hurt, he couldn't rest.
Yeah.
Now he can rest.
Now he can actually take some games.
Yeah, we can give him time off. I think we should win this with or without Jamal. Obviously, with Jamal, it'd be a lot easier. But I think this should be a easy win. Probably win it even more than we did this game, I think. I think as long as we don't come out slow, we should probably win by 20.
Yeah.
And I know we were up 20 at some point in this game, and then the bench warmers came in and lost it a little bit. But I just think like this would definitely be another blowout win. Then our next game is Sunday against the Boston Celtics in the Pepsi Center. Last game of our homestand. How do you see this game going with or without Jamal?
With Jamal, I think we'll win. Without Jamal, I'm still going to say we're going to win. I just feel like this team has become a good matchup for us, especially with Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say win. And this team's not even that good. Like, they're not the Celtics we've seen the last few years.
Yeah, I agree. I think same as you. I think with or without Jamal, we win. It just with him, we'll win by more. Without him, we'll just win. I think if Jamal plays, like this could easily be a blowout, mainly just because Jamal has exceptional games against the Celtics. He always plays very well against the Celtics. He just does really well in the series. And Jokic also, he's going to do really well in this game because, again, they don't have anyone to guard him. We, like you said, we just match up really well against the Celtics, and it's at home, so I see this being a win. So yeah, that should be good. And in the home stand, and it'll be the first time we actually, if we do it, it's the first time we won out in the home stand all year. I don't think we've done it before if it's like longer than just one game at home.
Yeah.
So that'd be great because we need to really improve that home record because it's been god awful so far this season. But fans have helped out a lot for sure. You can tell that Jamal and all the guys have gained a lot more energy just by 4,000 fans being in the arena. And then the next game is Monday at Golden State. How do you see that going? I think that's a national TV game.
We should win this game big. Steph will get his. Just make it a team effort. Play defense. You have no business losing this game.
Yeah, I think unless Steph has 50, we'll win. And I don't think Steph will have 50. I think there's only two things that could make us lose. Steph has 50 or Draymond gets over 10 assists. Whenever Draymond gets over 10 assists, I think they have an 80% more likelihood of winning a game. Just because, but yeah, whenever he gets more than 10 assists, they usually are more likely to win. Also, if Steph gets 50, it's pretty hard to overcome that. Even though we have definitely the players to do that, we could still win if Steph gets 50. Just don't want him to. I think we'll win pretty easily. This team is kind of down bad. They just lost by 60 to the Raptors a week ago. They're not doing good. They're in a bad place. They're barely in the tournament for the playoffs or in the playoffs right now. It is not going well for Golden State, which I'm sure for the rest of the league, everyone's happy because no one likes what they did to everyone for 4 years. And then after that game, we come back home for one game and play the Miami Heat at home. How do you see this game going?
Win. I also think this team is like a shell of what they were last season. But Jimmy Butler's still scary, so you can't sleep on them either. But they shouldn't lose this game.
I will say this is when our win streak ends.
Really?
We're going to lose this game because of Jimmy Butler. Because I'm terrified of that man, and that man always beats us. I think he will do well against us. I also think, at a point, we have to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think looking at my schedule, this is the game because Jimmy just goes off. And because this month is extremely easy. And I think this is just when the streak ends, but then a new streak will arise. But yeah, I think we lose because Jimmy pops off. They actually have someone who can't guard Jokic, but at least someone who can, match his output some nights on the other end, and Bam. And I know they're not playing super well this year, but they still got good players. They have Oladipo too, and Oladipo I feel like usually does well against us too. So I just feel like it's just going to get to the point where we've played so many games, we've won so many, we're just going to have one bad output of a game, and they're going to have a really good one. So I'll say that's a loss. Then our last game we will talk about is that Friday against the Houston Rockets on the road. This is a win for both of us, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for sure. The Rockets suck. We should not lose this game. If we do, oh my God, I'll be really upset. But yeah, so what? You had us winning out and being on a 12-game winning streak.
Yep.
And I had us losing only to Miami. So what? I had us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I had us 4-1, you had us 5-0. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I definitely think both of those records are what should happen. Anything below that is bad.
Yeah. You can't lose to these teams.
Yeah, I think anything below 4-1 is really bad. 4-1 is the minimum. 5-0 would be great. If I'm wrong and we went on a 12-game win, or we just keep going 12-game win streak, that's great. We'll see what it does to the standings, but that'd be great. But yeah, right now the Nuggets are red hot. We're playing really well. Hopefully we keep it up, and hopefully Jokic can go out and get that MVP. But that's everything we have for you guys this week. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell a friend if you enjoyed the podcast and think they will too. Make sure to catch us on all the podcasting platforms. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Nuggets.